Did you know that a penny you might have tossed in a jar years ago could be worth over $800,000 right now? No joke, what you thought was just a forgotten coin under your car seat could actually change your life. And yes, we're talking about an ordinary-looking 2009 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that's turning heads in the collector world and quietly making millionaires. Now imagine this: you walk into your garage, dust off that old coffee tin of change you've been meaning to take to Coinstar, and buried at the bottom is a coin you barely glance at. But this one, is different. It looks like the others, sure, but it's from 2009, it's a Lincoln cent, and it has no mint mark. You shrug and move on. Days later, someone just like you finds that exact same coin, and sells it $4,811,000. Let's unpack this, because once you understand why this coin is so rare and how you might already own one, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. The year 2009 marked the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The U.S. Mint released 4 special reverse designs to honor different stages of Lincoln's life. Most people remember these because they looked slightly different, but few realized how quickly certain versions, especially those minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark, would become targets for collectors. Even fewer knew that some of these coins had errors, misstrikes, or rare compositions that would make them explode in value years later. The most coveted version: a professional life reverse penny with no mint mark, produced in Philadelphia. At first glance, it's just another 1-cent coin showing Lincoln in front of the Illinois state capitol. But here's the kicker: some of these coins were struck on experimental planchets, coin blanks not meant for circulation. In some cases, these were zinc or brass instead of the standard copper-plated zinc. A few were struck slightly off-center, or with double-die errors. These micro-mistakes, barely visible to the naked eye, are now making collectors scramble with blank checks in hand. Here's where it gets really exciting, and a little nerve-wracking. In 2023, one of these professional life Lincoln cents, with no mint mark, graded as MS-69, that's near perfect, sold at auction for $811,000. That's nearly $1 million, for a coin you'd barely notice in your change tray. And get this, experts believe there could still be hundreds, if not thousands, of these pennies undiscovered across the United States. Tucked in old drawers. Sitting in dusty mason jars. Maybe even in your wallet right now, feeling that chill down your spine. That's the realization that your financial future might already be in your house. Let's talk strategy. You might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these $1 million coins? Start by checking your 2009 Lincoln pennies. Look specifically for the professional life reverse, where Lincoln is standing tall before the Illinois state capitol. Then, check the front of the coin. No mint mark. You've passed the first test, but here's where the real detective work begins. You'll need to look closely. Are there unusual markings, doubling in the text, off-center strikes, or any discoloration that seems off? These are the signs collectors pay for. And if your coin seems unusual, it's time to take action. Fast, before you run to eBay or your local pawn shop. Don't. You'll want to get your coin graded by a reputable third-party service like PCGS or NGC. This grading not only verifies authenticity, but it can skyrocket your coin's value by placing it into the elite club of investment-grade numismatics. Some folks have turned a single coin into 6-figure payouts just because they took this one extra step, and let's be real, this isn't just about collecting. This is about legacy. A coin like this could pay off your mortgage, eliminate your debt, send your kids to college, or fund that dream retirement you've been working toward for decades. It's about turning something ordinary, something overlooked, into extraordinary wealth. Still thinking this is rare? You're right. But remember this: every week, new finds are popping up. And every week, someone else cashes in while others keep walking past their chance. Ask yourself, why not you? Now, here's a little secret most people don't know. The coins that haven't been discovered yet, they're most likely not in vaults or museums, they're in everyday homes like yours. The U.S. Mint doesn't even have a full record of every experimental planchet that slipped into circulation during that year. Which means some of the rarest versions might not even be known yet. Imagine being the first person to uncover a new variety. Collectors would line up, and you'd name your price, but here's the twist, this opportunity won't last forever. The longer these coins remain hidden, the more aggressive the market gets. Collectors are sweeping estate sales, flea markets, and even gas stations, hoping to score big before the next wave of media attention spikes demand and dries up the supply. It's happening now. Quietly. But not for long. So here's what I want you to do next. After this video, dig through your coins. Grab a magnifier, a flashlight, maybe even a pair of gloves, yes, gloves, and start inspecting every 2009 penny you own. Remember, no mint mark, professional life reverse, and any sign of a strike error or unusual coloration. That's your golden ticket, and if you do find something that fits the description, you don't call a friend. You don't post about it. You call a certified coin dealer. And you get that treasure professionally appraised, discreetly. You've just learned that what looks like a simple penny could be your escape route to a wealthy lifestyle. And now you're part of a small group of people who know the truth. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it? Because in a moment, someone else might stumble upon the exact same coin, and walk away with your fortune. Stay sharp. Stay curious. And always check your change. You heard that right. One ordinary-looking coin, the 1976 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, has turned up at auctions fetching nearly $1 million. It's not made of gold, it doesn't sparkle, and you've probably handled one just like it at some point in your life, without even knowing it. Now ask yourself this: what if you've already owned a fortune, and you gave it away for a pack of gum? Most people don't realize that some of the most valuable coins in the world aren't flashy or rare in appearance. They're hiding in plain sight, mixed in with pocket change, coin jars, or old coffee tins in your garage. That's what makes the 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny so powerful. It hides a secret most Americans overlook. And by the time you finish this video, you'll know exactly how to spot it, how much it's really worth, and why now, yes, right now, is the most critical time to take action. Let's rewind the clock to 1976, America's bicentennial. Fireworks, parades, and national pride were at an all-time high. But while the country was busy celebrating 200 years of independence, something subtle slipped through the cracks at the U.S. Mint. That year, countless pennies were struck, but a tiny number left the mint without the identifying mark of where they were made. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a blank space under the date. Seemingly insignificant, but in the world of numismatics, coin collecting, that tiny omission was a whisper of potential greatness. Most of the 1976 pennies came from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally didn't use a mint mark for its coins. That's not unusual. What is unusual is that some of these pennies were minted using a unique composition error, or have die varieties and doubling that aren't found in the others. These subtle differences, invisible to the untrained eye, have made specific no mint mark 1976 Lincoln cents extremely rare. And as we know, in the world of collecting, rarity equals value. So how much are we really talking? Recently, a 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny in pristine condition with a rare double die error sold for $809,000 at a major auction. That's more than the average American home. More than a luxury SUV. That's the kind of money that rewrites retirement plans, wipes out debt, or pays for your grandchild's college education, all from a single coin. Still think pennies are worthless, but wait, before you start flipping over your couch cushions, there's a critical detail you need to understand. Not every 1976 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. The difference between a 1-cent coin and an $800,000 treasure lies in the smallest details: microscopic errors, specific grades, unique patinas, and unusual die strikes. It's easy to overlook unless you know what to look for. Ever heard the phrase, "the devil's in the details"? Well, when it comes to coins, the fortune is in the flaws. Let me paint you a picture. A retired factory worker in Ohio found a handful of old coins in a dusty mason jar while cleaning out his father's shed. Nothing special, he thought, just some copper coins and wheat backs. But one penny looked a little off. It had a strong strike, no mint mark, and a faint doubling on Lincoln's profile. Instead of tossing it in the donation pile, he took it to a local coin show. That coin. It appraised at nearly $600,000. One random coin in a forgotten jar changed the trajectory of his family's life. Now here's the part most people miss: these coins are only becoming more valuable. As time passes, the supply shrinks. Coins are lost, destroyed, or locked away in private collections. Meanwhile, collectors, and investors, are hungry for historical artifacts. And with the current surge in alternative investments, rare coins have become one of the most under-the-radar assets in America. So, how do you know if your 1976 penny is the real deal? Start with the basics. Flip the coin over and check for the mint mark. No D, no S. Good start. Next, look at Lincoln's face. Is there any doubling in the profile, especially in the eye, nose, or jawline? Any odd thickness in the lettering of "In God We Trust"? These are common signs of a double die, which increases the coin's value exponentially. And finally, condition matters. A coin graded as MS 65 or higher, that's mint state, is what buyers and auction houses are paying top dollar for. Can you just eyeball it and know for sure? Honestly? No. That's where professional grading comes in. Services like PCGS or NGC specialize in authenticating and grading coins. For a small fee, you could turn a coin worth pocket change into a certified financial asset. Think of it like a home inspection before selling your house, essential, but let me warn you, this market moves fast. As word spreads about these high-value 1976 no-mint mark pennies, more people are digging through their collections. More coins are being graded, sold, and locked into private vaults. That means less supply on the open market, and higher prices for those lucky enough to get in now. Waiting even a few months could cost you thousands. You might be wondering, why isn't this front-page news? Because big money rarely shouts from the rooftops. The people cashing in on these coins are quietly building wealth, attending closed auctions, and connecting with serious buyers. This is how generational wealth is built, through assets that others ignore. Still think a penny can't change your life? Let me leave you with this: somewhere, right now, someone is tossing a 1976 Lincoln penny into a Coinstar machine, not knowing they just gave away a potential fortune. Someone else, just a few miles away, is researching that same penny, submitting it for grading, and preparing to cash a six-figure check. Which person are you going to be? Stay until the very end, because in the next segment, I'm going to show you exactly where these high-dollar pennies are selling, how to safely list your coin for maximum value, and the single biggest mistake that could cost you everything, even if your coin is worth a fortune. Don't miss it. Your next million might just be hiding in your pocket. Yes, the kind you might overlook on the sidewalk, could be the key to a fortune. Imagine digging through an old jar of coins, maybe tucked away in a dusty corner of your garage, and discovering one that's worth over $800,000. Sounds impossible, right? But it's not. Because there's a very specific 1979 D Lincoln penny out there, minted in Denver, that's made collectors stop in their tracks, and in some cases, write checks with 6 or even 7 figures. Now before you rush to your coin jar, hold on, because not every 1979 D penny will make you rich. But there's a reason one of them is valued today at $805,000, and even more could be sitting undiscovered in American homes right now. Including possibly yours. So how does a coin worth 1 cent become more valuable than most luxury cars? Let's take a journey through history, mystery, and maybe even your own kitchen drawer. Back in 1979, the U.S. Mint produced over 6 billion pennies at the Denver Mint. That's billion, with a B. Most were just your average copper-plated zinc coins, nothing remarkable. But hidden in that massive production run were a few anomalies. Errors. Variations. Tiny, almost imperceptible differences that collectors pay astronomical prices for today, and that's where the legend begins. Point 1: particularly rare 1979 D penny surfaced at auction a few years ago. It looked ordinary. But under magnification, a startling detail revealed itself, a misalignment in the die. A double strike. A crisp, clean over-punched mint mark. Some even say a mystery metal composition. Whatever the cause, one thing was clear, this was no ordinary coin. That penny sold for over $800,000. Let's pause for a second. Could you imagine finding one of these in a pile of forgotten change? What would you do? Would you sell it? Keep it? Frame it on the wall like a trophy? Or just faint on the spot? Okay, maybe not faint. But let's be real, the idea of turning a penny into nearly $1 million isn't just thrilling. It's life-changing. And this isn't just about one lucky coin. Where there's one, there could be more. Now, I know what you might be thinking, there's no way I have one of those. But let me ask you this, do you know for sure? Have you looked? Most people don't. They toss coins in jars, drawers, cars, purses, and never give them another thought. But that's exactly what wealthy collectors are counting on. Because while most people ignore these coins, the savvy ones are searching, buying, and flipping them for record profits. And the window of opportunity? It's getting smaller by the day. Coin dealers are snapping up rare Lincoln pennies faster than ever. And thanks to online platforms and high-profile auctions, prices are rising. A 1979 D Lincoln cent graded in pristine condition can start at $2,500, go up to $50,000, and in that rare case, cross into the hundreds of thousands. What's driving this? Scarcity. Desirability. And perhaps a bit of nostalgia. Let's not forget, the Lincoln penny is iconic. It's been in circulation since 1909, tied to American identity, perseverance, and the idea that even the smallest things hold value. How poetic is that? But back to the money. If you're wondering how to know whether you're holding a jackpot in your hand, here's what to look for. First, flip it over and check the condition. No scratches. No discoloration. That's a great start. Then, look closely at the D mint mark. Is it sharp? Misaligned? Doubled? A magnifying glass could be your new best friend. Even subtle die errors like misstrikes or off-center designs can multiply the value exponentially. Still not sure? Here's the kicker. One man in Florida recently brought his old coin collection to an appraisal event out of sheer curiosity. Mixed among them was a 1979 D penny with a visible doubling on the date and mint mark. He had no idea. It had been sitting in a cookie tin for decades. When he walked out, he was over $75,000 richer. Makes you want to check every coin in your house, doesn't it? Now, let me hit you with a little fear, because while these coins are out there, the more time passes, the harder they are to find in the wild. The pristine ones have been scooped up by collectors, sealed in graded slabs, and stashed away. What's left in circulation? Mostly worn-out coins, unless you're incredibly lucky, and that brings us to urgency. If you want to take advantage of this hidden gold rush, the time is now. Start by checking your own collection. Ask family members if they have old coin jars. Visit estate sales, flea markets, even eBay, but be careful. With big money comes fakes. You'll want to educate yourself, or better yet, get a second opinion from a certified appraiser. Now here's the twist. There's another version of the 1979 D penny that might be worth even more, but it's almost never talked about. Why? Because only a handful are known to exist. And that's where we'll go next, into the shadows of the coin world, where secrets are guarded and fortunes quietly change hands. But that's a story for the next video. So before you forget, go check those pennies. Right now. Because that 1 cent you're holding, it might just be worth your dream vacation, your kid's college tuition, or even an early retirement. The wealthy know where to look. Make sure to subscribe, because in the next episode, we're diving deep into the secret variant of the 1979 D Lincoln penny that could be worth millions. And it's not what you think. Stay curious, and stay wealthy. 2007 Lincoln penny that could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your retirement fund. That's not clickbait. One recently surfaced with a D mint mark, and its current estimated market value. A jaw-dropping $801,000. And get this, it started its life like any other cent, tossed into pockets, forgotten in drawers. Now, it's a golden ticket for the lucky few who know what to look for. And you could be one of them. Imagine this. You're digging through that old coffee can of coins your grandfather left behind, maybe just organizing the clutter. You pull out a coppery little penny, rub the dust off, and think, just another 1 cent. But what if it isn't? Let's rewind for a second. In 2007, the U.S. Mint in Denver produced billions of Lincoln pennies. Most were perfectly ordinary. But in that massive run, a microscopic handful emerged with rare, virtually invisible errors and unique die characteristics. These anomalies, like double dies, off-center strikes, or dramatic plating flaws, are what make some of these coins insanely valuable to collectors. And we're not talking a few bucks on eBay, we're talking high-stakes auction house gold. One such 2007 D penny sold for an unbelievable $801,000. Why? Well, numismatic experts believe the coin had a nearly perfect strike, a 1 in a billion die variety, and survived in mint state condition. And while it sounds like something only a museum curator could identify, the truth is, many of these coins are still out there, in old jars, forgotten piggy banks, or buried in the back of your kitchen junk drawer. Let that sink in for a moment. You could be walking past a life-changing penny every single day. What's even crazier is that the majority of people don't know what to look for. That's good news for you. Because if you stay with me until the end of this video, you're going to learn exactly how to identify these rare pennies, avoid the common traps, and potentially turn your spare change into serious cash. You see, it's not just about having a penny from 2007 with a D on it. That alone won't make you rich. The value comes from subtle details, details that coin collectors will fight over in bidding wars. Some of these rare characteristics include strong doubling on Lincoln's profile, extreme die cracks along the edges, and oddly placed mint marks. The more unusual, the better. Now, let me ask you, when's the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really looked. Most people dismiss them, dropping them into tip jars or parking meters. But not you. Not anymore. Let's talk condition. Even if you have the right variety, its value skyrockets depending on its grade. Coins are graded from poor to mint state, MS, with MS 67 or higher fetching the highest premiums. That $801,000 penny. It wasn't just rare. It was in near-perfect condition. If yours is sitting untouched in a dry, dark place, away from oils or fingerprints, you might be holding a numismatic unicorn. And here's where things get interesting. The market for rare pennies is hotter than ever. Thanks to online marketplaces and auction sites, collectors and investors are scrambling to snatch up rare coins as alternative assets. It's not just a hobby anymore, it's a booming business. In fact, with inflation on the rise, many are turning to coins as a form of wealth preservation. So what do you do if you think you found one? Step 1. Do not clean the coin. Ever. Cleaning a rare coin can drop its value by thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. Leave it in its natural state. Step 2. Compare it under a magnifying glass with images from trusted sources. Look for doubling, cracks, or any imperfections that make it stand out. Step 3. Consider professional grading. Services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade your coin, making it eligible for auction or private sale. Yes, it costs a small fee, but the return could be life-altering. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how realistic is it that I'll actually find one? Fair question. The odds are low, but they're not zero. And unlike lottery tickets, this search costs you nothing. Just your time, your attention, and maybe a little dust on your fingers. Let me share a quick story that a retired schoolteacher from Colorado, let's call her Mary, found a 2007 D penny with unusual features while cleaning out her late husband's coin collection. She almost spent it at the grocery store. But something felt off. The coin looked different. She Googled, did a little digging, and sent it in for grading. A few months later, she walked away with a six-figure payout. Today, she lives in a cozy mountain home, mortgage-free. Not bad for a penny, right? And here's the kicker, Mary's coin wasn't even the most valuable one out there. Which begs the question, what else is sitting in forgotten drawers across America? Before you run to your coin jar, here's one final twist. There are rumors, and I say this carefully, rumors of a 2007 D penny variant that's never been seen in public auctions. Some believe it exists with a dramatic misprint that could push its value into the millions. It hasn't surfaced, yet. But if it does, whoever finds it will instantly become part of numismatic legend. Could that person be you? So here's what I want you to do next. Grab a flashlight. Get a magnifying glass. Dig out those pennies from the kitchen drawer, the glove box, the attic. Look for the 2007 date. Check for the D mint mark. Examine it closely. This isn't just coin hunting, it's a potential gateway to financial freedom, because in a world where opportunities feel harder to come by, and where wealth seems to belong to someone else, the idea that a single penny could shift your story, it's not just inspiring. It's real, and just when you think we've covered it all, there's one more secret about the 2007 penny that could change everything. But to uncover it, you're going to need to look a little deeper. What if I told you that a simple, ordinary-looking penny, the kind you've probably ignored 100 times, could be worth nearly $800,000 right now? No, this isn't a gimmick, and you don't need a metal detector or a PhD in coin collecting. You might already have one of these rare treasures hiding in your junk drawer, your glove box, or even in that old piggy bank you haven't opened since 1989. In 2013, the US Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies, each worth just 1 cent. But among this sea of copper-plated coins, a microscopic error turned an otherwise forgettable penny into a collector's dream, specifically, the 2013 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A tiny detail, yes. But this missing D, or P, which normally indicates the Denver or Philadelphia Mint, has created a frenzy among coin hunters. Why? Because the absence of a mint mark on a 2013 penny is not supposed to exist. And when rarity meets demand, prices soar. Today, some of these coins are valued at $798,000, and rumors whisper of bids climbing into the millions. Let that sink in. 1 cent, turned into a fortune. Now, imagine stumbling on one of these pennies and realizing your whole financial life just changed. You could pay off debts, retire early, buy the home you've always dreamed of, or finally take that first-class trip to Italy, not coach, not economy plus, first class. All from a penny. Sounds like magic, doesn't it? But it's not. It's knowledge. And knowledge is where wealth begins, but let's rewind a bit. Because like all great stories, this one has its origins in a mistake. Back in 2013, US mints were rolling out billions of Lincoln cents. Denver pennies got the D, Philadelphia coins got the P, standard procedure. But somehow, a small batch of pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. This wasn't planned. This wasn't on purpose. And the mint never publicly acknowledged the error. But collectors noticed. They always do. These no mint mark pennies became something of a legend. People began hoarding their change, searching through coffee cans, crawling through couch cushions, digging through drawers. Because if you can find just one of these coins, you're not just lucky. You're wealthy. Instantly. Of course, now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these golden ticket pennies? Here's where it gets interesting. First, pick up any 2013 penny and look just below the date. That's where the mint mark should be. If it's completely missing, no D, no P, just the number 2013, hold on to that coin like it's your life savings. But don't start celebrating just yet. The condition of the coin matters. A heavily worn or scratched coin might fetch a few hundred. But a pristine, uncirculated penny? That's where the real value lies. In top condition, one of these could command hundreds of thousands, and collectors are known to bid fiercely for the best of the best. Still with me? Good. Because here's where things take a turn. Over the past 6 months, collectors have started to whisper. The market is heating up again. One of these no-mint mark pennies recently sold in a private auction for a jaw-dropping $798,000. That's not a typo. And there's talk that another, in even better condition, could break 7 figures by the end of the year. Think about that for a second, one coin, worth more than most homes in America. In your pocket. Right now, but let me ask you something, when was the last time you checked your spare change? Really checked? Not just shuffled through it on your way to buy a coffee, but actually looked at each coin. Because while you've been busy chasing the next job, paying off credit cards, stretching your paycheck, there might have been a small fortune sitting quietly in your kitchen drawer, and that's the emotional punch of it, isn't it? The idea that opportunity doesn't always come with flashing lights or big red signs. Sometimes it's disguised as a dirty old coin you almost threw away. That's the danger, and the beauty. Some people will watch this and shrug. They'll say, it's just a penny. But not you. You're still here, which tells me something. You're not just hoping to get lucky. You're ready to take action. You're someone who understands that wealth favors the curious. So, how do you move forward? Start with your change. Search every 2013 penny you can find. Go to local banks, coin shops, estate sales. Talk to relatives. Older generations often have jars of coins stashed away, completely unaware of their hidden value. And if you find one of these no-mint mark 2013 pennies, don't clean it, ever. That can ruin its value. Instead, store it in a soft cloth or plastic sleeve. Then, get it professionally appraised. Grading services like PCGS or NGC can certify your coin's authenticity and condition, 2 things that dramatically impact the final price tag. Now, I know what you're thinking, could this really happen to me? Could I really be holding a 6-figure fortune and not even know it? And the answer, simply, is yes. It's already happened to others. Why not you? But here's the thing, time is not on your side. As more people discover this, more coins surface, and scarcity decreases. That means values can drop. The market is peaking right now. This isn't the time to hesitate. This is the time to act. Because once the buzz fades, so will the $1,000,000 price tags, and before you go diving into your coin jar, let me leave you with this: some people spend a lifetime chasing wealth and never find it. Others stumble upon it simply because they knew what to look for. You now know. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? And coming up in the next video, we'll reveal the top 5 most valuable pennies currently in circulation, including one from the 1980s that's quietly breaking auction records. But be warned, once you know these, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. So don't miss it. Your next fortune could be just 1 cent away. Have you ever tossed a penny into a jar, thinking it's just worth 1 cent? What if I told you one of those forgotten coins, specifically, a 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, could be worth $793,000, and in some cases, even more? That's right. 1 cent, to nearly $1 million. And yes, it's real, it's recent, and it could be sitting quietly in your house, right now, before you start flipping over your couch cushions or breaking open your kid's piggy bank. Let's take a moment. Imagine what that kind of windfall could mean. Paying off your mortgage. Helping your kids or grandkids through college. Traveling the world. Retiring early. That's the kind of transformation we're talking about, and it's happened to ordinary people just like you. In this video, we're diving deep into the truth about the 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Why it's commanding such outrageous prices. Who's buying it? How to spot it. And most importantly, how you could be one of the few lucky individuals to cash in on this coin that looks deceptively ordinary. It all begins with a mistake. Or rather, what looked like a mistake. The 2014 Lincoln cent, at first glance, doesn't appear unusual. It features the same profile of President Abraham Lincoln that's graced the penny since 1909. But some of these 2014 pennies were struck without a mint mark, a tiny letter normally appearing just beneath the date. Now, coins without mint marks are often assumed to be from the Philadelphia Mint, where mint marks aren't always used. So what's the big deal? Here's where it gets interesting. A specific subset of the 2014 Lincoln pennies were struck in a very rare die alignment, on experimental planchets, coin blanks, and exhibit microscopic irregularities that make them unicorns in the world of numismatics. We're talking about errors so rare, they slipped past even the most seasoned coin inspectors at the US Mint. But once discovered by collectors, they set off a frenzy. At first, prices hovered in the hundreds. Then the thousands. Then, the 100,000s. Today, one of these rare 2014 Lincoln no mint mark pennies fetched a jaw-dropping $793,000 in a private sale. And that's just the public number. Private sales in this world often exceed the headlines. The big question is, why would anyone pay that much? Because scarcity drives value. Think about it, there are millions of 2014 pennies out there. But only a tiny handful have this specific error combination, making them rarer than a Honus Wagner baseball card or a flawless diamond. And rarity is the golden rule in collectibles. It's not about the face value. It's about uniqueness, condition, and demand. Still with me? Good. Because here's the twist that most people miss, these rare pennies were not distributed in coin sets or collector rolls. They entered circulation. That means they're sitting in old change drawers. They're in inherited coin jars. Some might even be in vending machines, waiting to be handed out with your next bag of chips. Feel that little twinge of fear? That's the fear of having already spent it. Maybe you used one of these pennies to pay for gas 10 years ago. Or worse, gave it away. That's the haunting reality for millions of Americans who had the treasure in hand, and let it go. So, what should you look for? Here's where you need to focus. The 2014 no mint mark Lincoln penny, first of all, should be examined under proper lighting and magnification. Look for an unusually sharp strike, indicating a high-pressure die. The color might appear subtly different, even on circulated coins. Many of the valuable ones show what's called a die clash. That's when parts of the coin's reverse design show faintly on the front due to a minting mishap. Also, check for off-center strikes or doubling of the date or inscriptions, and here's a pro tip that coin dealers don't want you to know: even worn or circulated examples of these rare coins can fetch tens of thousands of dollars if they display certain anomalies. So don't toss it just because it looks old or dirty. That 1 cent could pay for a brand new house, but before you grab your magnifying glass, you need to know where to verify your finds. Because let's be honest, there are fakes out there. Scams. Coins altered after minting to look rare. But the real experts, and the real buyers, go through professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. These organizations authenticate, grade, and encapsulate your coin, giving it the legitimacy needed to bring in serious offers. A penny graded MS-69, mint state 69, is practically flawless, and that's where the real money is made. Now let's talk about you. You're watching this video because you want more. You're looking for a way to escape the 9 to 5 grind, to secure your future, maybe even leave behind a legacy. And here's the hard truth: those opportunities don't always come wrapped in gold. Sometimes, they show up in copper-plated zinc, hiding in plain sight. This isn't just about a coin. This is about paying attention to the overlooked, the forgotten. It's about knowing that wealth can come in the most unexpected form. And it's about taking action while others ignore the signs, because here's the kicker: these coins are being found now. Not 10 years ago. Not by some Harvard-educated collector. But by regular people, retirees, garage sale flippers, veterans cleaning out old drawers. And as word spreads, fewer and fewer of these coins remain in the shadows. Every day that passes, one more is pulled from circulation and locked away forever in someone else's safe. Let that sink in. Every second you wait, your $1 million penny might be slipping into someone else's pocket. So, what's next? Stick with us, because in the next part of this series, we're revealing the exact die markers that separate the real $1 million 2014 penny from the dozens of clever fakes. We'll also walk you through how to submit your coin for grading, and how to avoid getting ripped off by amateur buyers or shady dealers. You won't want to miss it, because the next coin we show you might make the $793,000 penny look like small change. Did you know a single penny could change your life forever? I'm not talking about a lottery ticket or a stock tip you heard at a barbecue. I'm talking about something sitting quietly in your junk drawer, collecting dust at the bottom of an old coffee can, or riding around in the cup holder of your car. One ordinary-looking coin, specifically, the 2016 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, has stunned collectors and dealers alike by reaching an astonishing value of $789,000. And that's not even the highest it's expected to go. Before you shake your head and think, no way, not my pocket change, ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at your coins? You may have been sitting on a gold mine all along and never even knew it. Let's rewind for a second. In 2016, millions of Lincoln cents were minted at the Denver Mint, most of them as plain and forgettable as any other year. But among those millions, a few were struck with rare minting errors and unique qualities that have since skyrocketed their value to unbelievable heights. One such penny shocked the numismatic world when it sold for close to $750,000. And the reason? A microscopic flaw that turned a humble cent into a collector's dream. What kind of flaw, you ask? Imagine a penny struck just slightly off-center, or one with a double die, meaning the image or lettering looks shadowed or duplicated. Maybe the minting press hit it too hard or too soft. To most people, these errors seem like imperfections, mistakes. But to seasoned collectors, these mistakes are pure magic. Now here's the twist that's keeping experts up at night: there could be more of these valuable coins out there. A lot more. Sitting unnoticed in change jars, drawers, even vending machines. It's not just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for. And if you stick around, I'll tell you exactly how to spot one and what you can do to turn it into real, life-changing money. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. You're probably thinking, if these coins are so rare, what are the odds I actually have one? Fair question. But here's the kicker: some of these valuable 2016 D Lincoln cents weren't identified until years after they entered circulation. That means people have unknowingly spent them at gas stations, grocery stores, maybe even handed one to a child as allowance. The fear of missing out is real, but the opportunity to get ahead is even more real. And let's be honest, how often does a chance come along to make nearly $1 million from something you already own? These high-value pennies often have something called a transitional error, where a coin design or material changed unexpectedly during production. In 2016, some Lincoln pennies appear to have been struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or older series. In layman's terms, that's like someone printing $100 bills on paper meant for monopoly money, and not catching it. Crazy, right? But here's what's not crazy: people like you are cashing in. One retired schoolteacher from Ohio found a rare 2016 D Lincoln cent in her late husband's coin collection and sold it at auction for over $430,000. She paid off her mortgage and bought an RV. Another man in Arizona discovered one at a flea market for 50 cents, yes, 50 cents, and turned it around for $789,000 just months later. Let that sink in, and it's not only collectors and dealers driving up the price. Major investment firms and even hedge funds have begun entering the numismatic space, seeing coins like the 2016 D Lincoln penny not just as artifacts, but as appreciating assets. Some are even calling rare pennies the new gold. With inflation squeezing every dollar, people are waking up to alternative ways to build wealth, and coin collecting is quickly climbing the ranks. But time is not your friend here. As more of these rare 2016 D pennies are discovered, their scarcity and value could start to drop. The longer they remain hidden, the higher their perceived rarity. But the more that surface, the more the market stabilizes. In other words, the clock is ticking. Now, I promise to tell you what to look for. Here's where it gets exciting. If you have a 2016 penny with a D mint mark just below the year, inspect it closely. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone camera. Look for a doubling of Lincoln's I or the Liberty inscription. Check the edges, are they unusually smooth, or is the coin slightly off-center? Do the letters look shadowed or stretched? And here's a pro tip, weigh it. A standard penny weighs 2.5 grams. Anything off, even slightly, could mean a planchet error. Still skeptical? That's fine. Skepticism keeps us grounded. But while you're doubting, someone else is checking their change, taking a closer look, and maybe walking away with a small fortune. That someone could have been you. Of course, identifying a rare coin is only half the journey. The other half? Knowing how to sell it. And not just selling it smart. You need to know where to list, who to trust, and how to avoid the sharks swimming in the waters of high-value collectibles. But we'll get to that in just a moment, because there's something else even more surprising. Not all the valuable 2016 pennies are in perfect condition. Some are worn, circulated, even scratched, and still worth thousands. Why? Because their rarity outweighs their wear. So don't dismiss a coin just because it looks old or used. It might just be your ticket to financial freedom, and imagine what that freedom could look like. Clearing your debt. Retiring early. Starting that business you've always dreamed of. Helping your kids with college. Or simply never stressing over bills again. That's the power of knowledge, knowing what to look for, and when to act. Now, before you rush to the nearest coin dealer or start flipping couch cushions, take a breath. Because there's one more twist. Not all valuable coins announce themselves. Some are sleeping giants, waiting quietly for the right collector, the right auction, or the right timing. And the next one could be in your hands right now. Coming up, I'll reveal the 3 top auction houses paying record-breaking prices for 2016 Lincoln pennies, and how you can submit your coins for free evaluations without getting scammed. But first, go check your change. You've been warned. Imagine checking your junk drawer, pulling out a handful of loose change, and finding a single penny that could change your life forever. Not just any penny, a 2017 Lincoln D Mint Mark 1 cent coin, seemingly ordinary, yet capable of commanding upwards of $782,000 on the market. Some rare versions of this coin have been quietly auctioned for even more, well into the millions. Sounds like fiction? It's not. It's your potential reality. But only if you know what to look for. In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most shocking coin revelations of the last decade. If you're over 30, living in the US, and thinking about turning forgotten pennies into financial power, this is a journey you can't afford to miss. Because wealth, my friend, doesn't always come in stacks, it often starts with copper. Let's rewind a bit. In 2017, the Denver Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. Most people never gave them a second glance. After all, what's 1 cent worth? In a world of digital wallets and credit cards, a penny feels like a relic. But a microscopic error, a slight variation, even a minting anomaly so small you'd need a magnifier to catch it, can catapult its value into the stratosphere. Now, here's where things get interesting. There are 2017 pennies out there, right now, possibly in your possession, that carry rare die errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and other flaws so scarce, collectors are practically throwing money at them. And we're not talking about niche hobbyists. We're talking seasoned investors, estate curators, and museum-level buyers all fighting for ownership. So what exactly makes a 2017 penny worth more than a luxury car, or even a home? Let's start with the double die obverse error. This happens when the coin die used to strike the penny imprints a doubled image on the face of Lincoln himself or the inscription surrounding him. The result? A ghosted, duplicated effect visible in the words, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." It's like the coin has a stutter. And if you're lucky enough to find one with that visual echo, well, congratulations. You're not holding a penny. You're holding a financial springboard. But wait, there's more. Some 2017 Lincoln cents exhibit what collectors call a BIE error, a small die break that appears between the B and the E in Liberty, forming what looks like the letter I. Harmless? Perhaps. But for specialists in numismatics, coin collectors, it's a golden ticket. These errors occurred only briefly before the die was corrected. That microscopic bump has fetched thousands at auction. Now let's talk rarity, because value is born from scarcity. It's estimated that only a handful of the ultra-valuable 2017 D-era pennies exist in pristine, uncirculated condition. And out of billions minted, finding one is like winning the lottery, but with better odds, if you know where to look. And yes, they're still out there. Tucked away in piggy banks, old coin jars, or the crevices of couch cushions across the country. You may be asking, why haven't I heard about this before? Because the world of rare coins is quiet by design. The fewer people who know, the better the chance elite collectors have of swooping in first. But today, you're getting the inside track. And here's the kicker: just last year, one of these coins, verified by a third-party grading service like PCGS, sold for $782,000. Imagine what that kind of money could do. Pay off your mortgage. Set up your children's college fund. Retire in style. This isn't about luck. It's about awareness, knowledge, and acting before the wave crests. Still skeptical? Consider this: back in 2009, a man in Texas sold a rare penny from the early 20th century for over $1 million, after it sat unnoticed in his coin collection for decades. He'd almost spent it at a vending machine. Let that sink in, and here's where urgency comes into play. As awareness grows, the pool of undiscovered, high-value coins shrinks. Once these rare 2017 D pennies are scooped up, they're gone, locked behind vaults, stored in climate-controlled safes, or flipped for six-figure profits by early finders. If you wait, you may miss your window. And no, there won't be a second print. So what should you do right now? Simple. Start looking. Dig through your old change jars, sort those rolls of pennies you've been meaning to cash in. Pull out every 2017 D coin and examine it closely. Use a magnifying glass, check for doubling, search for that BIE error. And if you think you found something, don't clean it. Don't polish it. That's like washing a Picasso. Instead, consult a certified coin grading service. This small step can validate the coin and dramatically increase its sale potential. And here's a little tip: even if your 2017 D penny doesn't carry the jackpot error, many still fetch $20 to $100 depending on their condition. That's a 2,000 to 10,000% return on face value. Try getting that in a savings account. But the real thrill? It's the possibility. The what if. That moment of discovery when a mundane coin becomes a moment of financial transformation. Your path to a new lifestyle might be sitting in your kitchen drawer. Now, before we wrap up, let me ask you one final question: what's stopping you? A few minutes of your time could unlock a fortune. And in the next video, we're going to reveal the most expensive penny ever sold, one that turned a minimum wage worker into a millionaire overnight. You won't want to miss it. Go on, your future might just be one penny away. They say 1 cent can't change your life, but what if it could? Imagine opening your drawer, rummaging through some spare change, and finding a single coin that could be worth more than your home. That's not just a fantasy. Right now, a specific version of the 2020 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, yes, the humble 1 cent coin, has shocked collectors and dealers alike by commanding an astounding market value of up to $777,000. And that's not a typo. In rare cases, these coins have even been projected to reach values in the millions. So the question is, do you have one of these life-changing coins in your possession? Let's talk about why this one coin is rewriting what we thought we knew about pocket change. The 2020 D penny was minted in Denver at the height of a global upheaval. Supply chains were disrupted, mints operated under restricted conditions, and error coins, those small minting mistakes that collectors go crazy for, slipped through the cracks more often than usual. Some of these errors were so subtle they went unnoticed for years. Until now. A few sharp-eyed collectors recently discovered a version of the 2020 D penny with astonishing characteristics. These included rare double dies, off-center strikes, and in one particular case, what experts are calling a ghost Lincoln, a partial design anomaly so rare it's been dubbed the holy grail of modern minting errors. It was this very coin that fetched nearly $777,000 in a private auction this year. Take a breath. Yes, that was almost $750,000. For 1 penny. Now here's where it gets even more exciting. The U.S. Mint produced over 4 billion Lincoln pennies in 2020 alone. Most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But a tiny fraction, less than 0.00001%, may contain errors or die variations so rare that they could turn your loose change into generational wealth. What does that mean for you? It means that sitting in a mason jar, a junk drawer, or even a child's piggy bank in your home could be a coin with the power to pay off your mortgage, retire early, or fund your dream vacation. And that's not a stretch. These finds are happening to everyday people, teachers, veterans, retirees, even someone who found a valuable coin while doing laundry, still not convinced. Ask yourself this: if someone handed you a lottery ticket, would you throw it away without checking the numbers? Every week, new listings for error pennies and rare variations hit auction platforms, selling for $500, $5,000, $50,000 and more. The demand is growing, fueled by serious collectors, wealthy investors, and museum curators who know the true value of scarcity and history. And because these coins are from the modern era, not some dusty 1800s drawer, you have a much better chance of actually finding one. Here's what to look for. First, check the date and mint mark. The 2020 D Lincoln penny should have a sharp D below the date, indicating it was minted in Denver. Next, look closely at Lincoln's profile. Do you see any doubling in the lettering, especially Liberty or In God We Trust? Is the image slightly misaligned? Does anything seem off about the rim or the way the coin sits flat? Those are your first clues. Some of the most valuable versions have visible doubling on both the obverse and reverse sides. Others show missing elements of Lincoln's face, die cracks that form unique lines, or ghost-like impressions of earlier dies, visual anomalies caused by minting equipment malfunctioning during high-pressure runs in 2020. Now, before you go running for a magnifying glass, let me ask you this: if you found a strange mole on your skin, would you ignore it, or would you get it checked? Same principle here. If you think you've got a suspicious coin, don't just list it online. Get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. The difference between a $1 curiosity and a $777,000 jackpot is all in the details, and official grading is the only way to authenticate your treasure. And here's the twist: the market for these coins is heating up faster than ever before. With inflation rising and people turning to alternative assets like gold, crypto, and collectibles, rare coins are gaining attention from high net worth buyers looking to diversify. That means the clock is ticking. A coin that sells for $50,000 today might fetch double or triple that next year, or disappear into a private collection forever. You don't want to be the person who had it and didn't act. Imagine this: 6 months from now, you're sitting at a private auction, watching a bidding war over your own coin. The gavel slams. You walk away $500,000 richer. Maybe you pay off your debts. Maybe you finally start that business you've been dreaming of. Maybe you just take a long, overdue vacation with the people you love, but it all starts with a coin most people overlook. So go check your stash. Look in the glove box. Under couch cushions. Even ask your parents or grandparents if they have old jars of coins. You'd be surprised how often wealth is hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with just a little knowledge, and a bit of courage, to claim it. And if you're thinking, well, what are the odds I have the $1 million penny? Ask yourself this: what are the odds you'll ever get this chance again? Because in our next video, we're diving into the exact tools and free apps you can use at home to evaluate your pennies without paying a dime. That's right, before you even send them for grading. But you'll want to hear the one warning that could mean the difference between a rejected submission and a life-changing payday. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.